Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukat.
And a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to Newsline Live. Now then, we have cases where the teachers are asking for more money. We have another case where the education system is apparently in danger of being militarized. Yes, another one that is going that route apparently. And so the people are really concerned. Now then, most people forget that to be able to pay more money, the revenue must be present. We can't simply go on printing more and more money, can we? And I'm sure that everyone will understand the focus of the need that the government must increase revenue urgently for a variety of reasons, including, of course, paying teachers more money, if that is the case. To discuss this and a little bit more, perhaps, is Mr. Kumar Gunaratnam from the Frontline Socialist Party. Very good evening to you, Mr. Kumar.
Good evening, Faraz.
Thank you very much for being on the program. Now, government must increase revenue collection is the theme that I have chosen for today. This is in light of the fact that teachers are making all sorts of claims for more money.
Yeah.
Indeed, the prices have gone up. The cost of living is up. We all know that. Not only the teachers, the police, you, me, Harshana, Shehan, and everybody else out there, and in the control room, our cameraman, everyone.
Yeah.
They all know this. We don't need to be told.
Yes.
We know because we go outside and we do shop. So, would you agree when we say that, you know, whilst all this is there, there is also a need for the public service to pull up their socks and actually bring in more money, increase the amount of taxes that is being collected, and so on. Well, what are your thoughts on this, Mr. Kumar?
Actually, now the teachers unions now the request is for more salary, and they want to. Do you know that there have been a salary anomaly amongst the teachers and the principals, the salary scales, and they have been they have been demanding this for years and years. And when you raise the question that how the government raise more funds or more revenues, so there is a question, because now in the recent past, day before yesterday, the finance minister issued a bill that to invest all the tax frauds, you know.
You mean the black money?
Black money. It means he wants to get all the black money into the market, and is going to do. They are going to be taxed only 1%. So it means he wants to get back all the black money into the market.
There is another way, of course, of doing that.
Yes,
we can go the route of Mr. Modi. We can print new notes.
Yes,
and sort of relegate the old notes.
Yes, that's the crisis of the current government at the moment, the economic crisis. But anyway, now when you see the taxation system in Sri Lanka, there is a huge difference, because the direct tax, it is around 20 to 15%.
Yeah.
So that is the problem. The earlier government, they promised that they are going to increase that 15 to 20% to 40%. So they are going to they promised that, but this government also at the beginning they said that it was going to expand the direct tax to another 15 to 20, but it didn't happen.
As a member of the Frontline Socialist Party, and in effect the opposition, do you ever believe anything government say to you?
No, I don't believe that. But I'm saying
you're just saying what they said.
Yes, they are not living up to their promises. It's an exact situation.
Well, I mean, let's consider this. Sri Lanka's income is 1,200 million rupees per annum. Sri Lanka's income is 1,200 million. The outgoing, recurring expenditure that includes government salaries, pensions, welfare, and anything associated with that, is 900 million. That's about 75% of our income, which means that our recurring expenditure is amongst the top 5 in the whole world. And when our income is stuck at 1,200, I think the onus is on all those who work in government to ensure that what is due to the government is collected, and collected properly and on time. We have a case where a distillery seems to have got away with a very wide-angle viewpoint from the Ministry of Finance and the Excise Department. They haven't paid so much of taxes and so on. They've been, and they hadn't even paid their income tax, but they were happily allowed to produce. And to make matters worse, they didn't even pay the excise duty to a point. Then we find that they have billions owed to the state banks. Our money, the people's money. 19 billion according to the Sunday Times the last weekend. 19 billion. And then the Excise Department enter into a little transaction with them, allowing them to carry on. Well, no, that is wrong. And why should the people pay for these people? They've obviously made the money, otherwise they wouldn't be in the business. And by not paying the taxes, they've used that money elsewhere. And why should the public pay for that?
Actually, for instance, now I'll give you an example. In Argentina, I think the President Alberto Ferdinand, he in the recent past, they have come across this situation, and he introduced a new tax for the entrepreneurs and who earn more than 2.3 US dollars, millions, 2.3 millions. More than, that's not a big amount. But he taxed 3.25 who are in the country, and who are outside 5%. So he is expecting around $3 billion from that. So I give this example because now the present government, or the previous government as well, they don't tax the wealthiest. That's the problem. That's the problem here, because now that earlier, as I mentioned, now because of the last on the 20th the Gazette notification, according to the Gazette notification, that they say that they can invest all the black money in the market. But at the same time, in March 2021, according to the COPE committee report, it says that nearly 105 billion rupees, the amount that the people, the wealthiest who didn't pay the tax, that's the reality. For the last 5 years, since 2015 to 2020, it was around 405 billion rupees. So that is the case. So when someone raised, exactly, not only the teachers but all the government servants, and on the other hand the private sector workers, and day-to-day the informal workers, and everybody, their situation is very hard. But at the same time, someone has to raise this question. Someone has to fight for their rights. So we are, as a Socialist Party, and we are the frontline Socialist Party, we are supporting the teachers' strike, and on the other hand, we ask the people to fight for their rights.
But whilst I understand that part, my issue is one of productivity. How can the government workers, the government servants, ask for more money, whatever the circumstances, and we are all in it. It is not only the government servants who are suffering from a lack of money, the rest of the country is as well, the wealthy as well, everybody, it's all relative. But how can you expect them to justify their claim for more money when, for example, if you're trying to get government approvals for anything, it takes a month of Sundays? If you are trying to do, for example, a mini hydro project, you need 12 different, I believe 12, I might be mistaken, I might be underinformed, but it's at least 12 different approvals. And to get those approvals, you're dealing with government officials, and they make life terribly difficult. And that's the experience, and it lends itself to corruption.
Yeah.
So I don't see how the public can justify paying these people more money when their delivery is abysmal. I know what you say about the teachers and so on, and you know, I think they need to be a little bit more circumspect and a little bit more understanding of the problem, and the answer doesn't lie in not educating the children. If we take another look at it from a different perspective, in 2003 there were approximately 360,000 children born. Okay, they all enter the education system at some point. Now, currently, we have only got, at university level, 40,000 from the state universities, capacity I'm talking about, and 15,000 from the private sector. That's 55,000. My question to you, Mr. Kumar, is this. In your view, is it enough to only provide 15% of these students who enter the education stream a chance to get to university? Is educating 15% enough for this country to increase its GDP?
No, it's not enough. It's quite clear that it's not enough. That's why for us the earlier question I want to because I just want to emphasize this because for one minute, actually the teachers at the COVID situation, it was a disastrous situation. You know, the schools are closed, and most of the teachers they did their still they are doing their education online, and the government didn't support them. They didn't provide any sort of support, and they spend their own money.
Like what? Like you mean for data connection?
Data connection and everything. Data connection, and the teachers, most of the teachers, they are struggling with their devices. They don't have a proper computer or something. They use their phones, and sometimes only one phone at home. So they have been struggling for the last...
There are some stresses.
Yes, they have been struggling for the last 1 year, 15 months. So that is the reality. After all, then they had to stand up for the fight that I want to mention about that. The other question, yes, that is not enough. The 15% is not enough. But on the other hand, what is happening here? All the students' movement and the teachers and the trade unions and all the majority of the people ask each and every government to increase the budget allocation for the education. But still, it is around 2%. But the request is at least the FUTA, the University Teachers Association, and the student movement and everybody, they request at least the budget allocation should be around 6%. At least 6%.
Yes, but even that's not enough, because
that's not enough,
because
actually.
only 84%.
Yes.
I mean, 84% of the students who enter the education system don't have the opportunity to go on for university education.
That's right.
And university education is where Sri Lanka's real fortune lies in.
That's
not
correct.
Anywhere else. Not in sending domestic workers to Saudi Arabia to be abused and come back, and so on and so forth. And it brings in $7 billion into our country. However, how much more could we gain if we had an educated workforce who was going abroad? That is the real question.
That's why I'm saying that even they don't even allocate 6%. As you said, that's not enough. That's not enough. But at the moment, that is the reality. So, what is the first thing? Now, you know, education is not a commodity. As you said, is that the fortune for Sri Lankan students, Sri Lankan community, Sri Lankan people? So, this is not to be sold. It should be it shouldn't be a commodity.
I think it's just human right.
Human right, and it should be free. That's why the student movement, the leftist parties, and most of the trade unions have been fighting for free education and the freedom of the education. That's called the education not for sale. So Now what's happening? Now what's happening here is now there is a economic sphere and there is another education sphere.
Yeah.
And the problem is lying on the economic sphere, because the governments, not only this government, all the successive governments, they have been reducing the amount they allocate for education and health, especially education and health. But on the other hand, they have been increasing the military budget each and every year. So in the last budget allocation was also the same scenario we met. And that is the point here. So the economic sphere, you have to, the government should, as I said earlier, the government should tax the wealthiest, not the 15% or 20%. It should be it should be expanded towards 40 or 50%. Then you can allocate more money into education and into health system. So that is the only way. That is the only way to educate more and more students and the population.
As we go into a short break to take a quick peek at tonight's headlines for the primetime news at 9 o'clock, I'll put you this question. We'll come back with the answer. Shouldn't parliamentarians also take a pay cut and forego other perks instead of burdening the masses by imposing more taxes? We'll see you on the other side of the break.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shaukat Ali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in conversation with a member of the Frontline Socialist Party, Mr. Kumar Gunaratnam. And I asked you about this question about that. Do you think that the members of parliament, politicians, do you think that they should take a cut, a salary cut?
Yes, because they have got enough privileges, and I think it's a fair call. But at the same time, it doesn't solve the problem.
No, it doesn't. But it's an example.
Yeah, it's an example. For an example, they can do it. But I think the taxation system should be changed.
Well, if parliamentarians are given telephone allowances,
yes,
then why not the teachers?
Yes, that's why I said earlier, because they get the last weekend the newspapers published about their salary scales, 30,000, 40,000, 42,000, like that. So that's according to the current situation, current economic crisis. This is not enough. It's not fair salary. So they should be provided by all these telephone.
So they need a device. They need the data connection.
Definitely.
At least,
yes,
the very minimum.
Yes.
Now then, let's move on to this sore subject almost,
yeah,
of a growing militarization, or an apparent growing militarization. In case you guys are monitoring this, I said apparent militarization. Okay, so we now have this process trying to enter the education system, as we know about the KNDU. What's your stance on the KNDU?
Actually, Frontline Socialist Party denied the KNDU bill, and we protested against it with the support of the all trade unions and student movement and university teachers and all together. Because there are two facts to be considered. The first one is privatization of education, especially the higher education, and on the other hand, it is being done in a way of militarized manner. That's the other point. There are two facts to be considered. So introducing KNDU bill, the government, they are going to establish a private university system, not only a private university, but it's a private university system.
Yeah.
Because most of the private institutions in Sri Lanka at the moment, they are being registered under the Company Act.
Yes.
It's not under the University Grant Commission. Yeah. Now, after introducing this KNDU Act, all these institutions can be joined to this KNDU, and they can establish different universities, different faculties, and not only medical or engineering, arts faculties and everything. So it means in one hand you have the state university system, and on the other hand there is a private university system. Now the KNU, the case with the KNU is now it is run by taxpayers' money. That is the other thing. The military personnel, they are studying there. At the same time, that some of the civilians are also studying there, but with the taxpayers' money. But the degrees are being paid.
Paid for by the government?
Yes.
So, one question is, isn't it a good idea that we're going to get a little bit more universities?
Yes.
That's one side.
Yeah.
The flip side is the concern that this may also be another way of further militarizing our country?
Yeah.
Is that your concern?
Yes, actually now the University Teachers Association, they have released a statement yesterday regarding the amendments made by the President. Actually, it has not been written, but in his interview he specially mentioned about there are some amendments, and it is going to be handed over to the Parliament on the 6th. That's why I heard. Anyway, now the University Teachers Association, they stated that the University Grants Commission, it cannot be worked with a military organization. You can't mix up with the military organization, because military is worked. It is worked according to a.
But they're disciplined.
Yeah, discipline. Discipline means a different discipline. You know, that is a command and execute. That is the discipline.
But if they all went to that kind of a disciplined environment, do you think we'll have less strikes on the road by disruptive students? Although that is part of student life, I know.
But we consider a civilized society, but we know how the discipline comes from the consultative manner and a democratic manner.
But a civilized society, I put it to you, Mr. Kumar, is concern and consideration of the fellow man.
Yeah.
So when I'm a student and I'm protesting, but you're trying to get to work, the consideration in a civilized society is that the road shouldn't be blocked because you need to get to work, and I can stand somewhere else and protest. So that's democracy, and that is civilized consideration. Do you think that by going that military route, we may have less strikes on the road?
No, I don't think so, because actually now that is a commuter's point of view. Yes, what you said was correct. But on the other hand, the 50,000 of students, their rights, when you consider from their point of view, I think they have the right to protest.
Oh, we all do. We all do. But we also have the unwritten law. You know, the what I call the URs, the unwritten rules.
Yes.
And the unwritten rules is that one must be very holistic in this whole thing, and be appreciative of others as well, and considerate of others.
Yes.
And that is the way that we will go some way towards building a better society in this wonderful paradise land that we call Sri Lanka.
Yes. But anyway, I just want to take into your consideration. The first thing is, now the Gotabaya Rajapaksa government, when he contested the presidential election back in 2019, we knew that, because for the since 1977 we have been experiencing this neoliberal economy, the open economy, or we call as rather neoliberal economy. And what is the change happened in 2019 was that it was in a crisis. Actually, it has been in a crisis for the last 4 decades, and finally the Rajapaksa regime, they want to introduce the economic policy with militarization. That's what happened. That's why they introduced military personnel, some of the friends of the president, to the major spots in the economy and administration as well. Everywhere he placed military personnel everywhere. So now in the education sector, what we are experiencing here, the education sector now, Now the privatization of education is going to be happen by using the military power. Now according to the KNDU Act, the KNDU bill, it doesn't comply with the University Grants Commission.
Yes.
And it's a different organization, different board, headed by the...
Although the government did say that they would make necessary amendments.
Yes. It's not written now. We have to see it in the future.
This is a... thank you for your questions, by the way. 072 300 305. The number must have been on your screen. This is from a viewer. I'll refer to the person as Mrs. C, who says that a well-known retired banker once suggested that if every government servant paid an income tax of 1,000 rupees a year, it would bring an enormous income to the treasury. Would you agree with such a notion? Shall we ask the government to action this?
1,000 rupees?
Per year?
Per year.
Per person? Per government servant?
Government servant. Actually, first of all, I just want to raise my first concern, because the wealthiest should be taxed more. That is the solution towards a better society. So that is...
don't you think that there should be a pride in paying taxes?
Yes.
People ought to be proud that they're paying taxes.
So we have, but
yes. Some corporates don't do. They've had, in one instance in the last several weeks I saw, we had profits declared of a listed company of around 57 billion.
Yes.
And they paid taxes on 12, but they didn't even declare a dividend for so many years.
That's right. That's the case.
So how can you get the economy to go around when...
So that is the case here, because this government, I don't think that they are going to tax these wealthiest who doesn't declare their wealth, but that is the only solution.
Do you think that's because the wealthiest in this government are the government themselves, are these ministers themselves?
That is a different case for us, because I don't feel that this government or the previous government, the previous government also didn't do this, because that we have been experienced this economic crisis since decades. The last the Jahapalan government, the good government also made the same mistake. And I don't think that is the only case. There are some friends and some of the government ministers, and they have some businesses. That's true. But on the other hand, the economic policy is tax the people, the common man. That is their policy.
Would you support a move for the tax office to the tax department to give a ranking to companies and even individuals? If you pay the right amount of taxes, they give you a little badge and you say, well, look, I'm a proud taxpayer.
Yes, it should be nice.
It would be nice, right?
Yes.
Well, Kumar Gunaratnam, I enjoyed talking to you this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's the way it was on Newsline Live. It's now time for the prime time news, and let's take a peek at that, shall we? In the meantime, take care, have a great evening, and God bless you.